Hello, my name is Frank, and I was born into a family deeply entrenched in the Mafia underworld. My father was the head of a notable crime family. Growing up in this environment meant that I was often met with disdain from others. My older brother, Liam, who was 12 years older than me, was groomed from a young age for a life in the Mafia, receiving top-notch education and training for this exact purpose. Observing his life, I found myself yearning for something more ordinary. I shared my thoughts with Liam one day, expressing my desire to step into the regular world and work a normal job after graduating from college. Liam understood my feelings, as he always knew that the Mafia life wasn't suited for me. When I discussed my plans with our parents, they were harsh, choosing to disown me rather than listen to my reasons. Undeterred, I left home after graduation and landed a job at a general construction company, eager to embrace life as a law-abiding citizen. I introduced myself to my new colleagues with a sense of immense relief and excitement, delighted to finally live the life I had always wanted. My personal life also began to flourish. I even started a relationship. At work, I was initially assigned basic tasks, but I was determined to prove my worth. My efforts paid off, and I was soon promoted to the sales team. The job was not without its challenges, especially with a difficult manager, Elizabeth, who had a reputation for being tough on her team. Many had faltered under her scrutiny, and some even faced termination. The whispers around the office suggested that Elizabeth had connections at the top, which made her nearly untouchable. Despite these obstacles, I worked tirelessly to win her respect, and eventually I succeeded. Elizabeth began to recognize my dedication and competence. "You're surprisingly good at your job," she remarked one day, a rare compliment that hinted I was finally making my mark. Thanks to my persistent efforts, Elizabeth warmed up to me, and it felt like a significant victory in my new life outside the Mafia. However, the atmosphere started to shift in a concerning direction after that. "Hey, are you free after work today?" Elizabeth asked one evening. I had plans to run some errands and intended to head straight home. Then are you free next Friday?" she persisted. Considering my schedule was open, I agreed, albeit reluctantly. "Let's go out to dinner next Friday." With a girlfriend I was deeply committed to, the idea of dining alone with another woman was unappealing. But, convincing myself it was just a work commitment, I accepted. Elizabeth chose a rather posh restaurant, explaining, "You've been working hard lately. I thought I'd treat you." During the meal, she remarked, "It's a big deal to be liked by me, so you should feel confident." The dinner passed quickly. My mind was preoccupied with the desire to get home. As the evening wore on and the last train's departure neared, I prepared to leave. "Thanks for the meal," I said, standing up to go. Suddenly, Elizabeth's tone changed. "Hey, I'm kind of in the mood for that sort of thing today," she hinted, suggesting a more intimate continuation of the evening. Stunned, I responded, "I can't do that. I have a girlfriend whom I care about deeply." Her mood soured instantly. "Well, that killed the mood. I've lost my desire to treat you. Pay for your meal," she snapped before storming out. Left to settle the expensive bill myself, I caught the train home, pondering the awkward turn of events. The next day, Elizabeth's demeanor towards me was frosty and detached, as if she were an entirely different person. Moreover, rumors began circulating that I had tried to coerce her into going to a hotel, portraying me as the aggressor. Despite these challenges, I didn't let the rumors deter me. I remained focused on my work, even as I felt increasingly ostracized. Then, one day, Elizabeth approached me unexpectedly. "Hey, we're meeting a new client tomorrow. You should come with me," she instructed. Surprised, I mentioned, "But the company said we shouldn't take on new clients right now." Her reply was curt, signaling that this was not up for debate. As challenging as the situation had become, I knew I had to navigate these troubled waters carefully. Due to staffing shortages, Elizabeth had already cleared our client meeting with the higher-ups. ensuring there would be no objections. When I expressed concerns, she sharply retorted, "You think you're important enough to talk back to me?" It wasn't about talking back. I was simply voicing a legitimate concern. Regardless, I found myself being coerced into attending the meeting. Elizabeth was adamant. "Come on, I'm driving, get in." Normally she never drove, but today was different. We drove in silence until, unexpectedly, Elizabeth pulled into the parking lot of a motel. Confused, I asked, "What is the meaning of this? I thought I made it clear last time that I wasn't interested in this." "Just come inside and we'll talk," Elizabeth insisted, brushing off my protests as if they were nothing. Despite my reluctance, I followed her into the motel, promising myself that I would keep my wits about me. Inside the room, the situation took a dark turn. As soon as I entered, I was shoved from behind, crashing to the floor in pain. Dazed, I looked up to find not just Elizabeth, but 4 menacing-looking men armed with bats and golf clubs. "What is this all of a sudden?" I demanded, trying to make sense of the ambush. "Just shut up and be quiet," one of the men growled as he swung a bat at my leg. A sharp pain surged through me, rendering me unable to stand properly. Elizabeth, with a twisted sense of satisfaction, revealed, "I'm the mistress of a Mafia underboss. These are his men. In other words, they work for me too," she added, her voice cold and detached. The reality of my predicament sank in as the men prepared to continue their assault. "Take this guy to the limit," Elizabeth ordered them. The beating was brutal and relentless. Every time I neared the edge of consciousness from the pain, a harsh jolt would pull me back to the harsh reality. "Don't kill him yet. We've got to take him to the very limit," Elizabeth instructed her henchmen as they continued their vicious attack. Initially, I was subjected to a brutal beating, leaving me severely injured but still alive. One of the men hesitated. "Are you sure about this? He's messed up and he works with us at the company." "It's fine," another responded dismissively. "He's just a regular employee, doesn't have any pull like I do. Let's think up some more fun stuff to do with him next." As they inflicted pain and discussed their next moves with disturbing enthusiasm, I watched them closely, searching for any opportunity to escape. Doubt surfaced among them. "Is this really under the underboss's orders? This guy doesn't seem that important." "Are you questioning me?" Elizabeth snapped back. "The underboss said to use you guys as needed." As they momentarily turned away to argue, I mustered all my strength, pushed myself up, and stumbled toward the door. "Hey, wait! Don't let him get away!" I heard Elizabeth shout as I forced the door open and limped away as fast as I could. As I ran, I noticed something odd. All the doors to the other rooms were wide open. I darted into one of them, slamming and locking the door behind me. Initially, they banged on the door, causing a commotion, but then resorted to shouting in the hallway, trying to intimidate me further. "You can shout all you want," one yelled. "This motel is under our control. There are no other guests, and no one's coming to help you anytime soon." Desperate, I realized I had my phone with me. But without knowing the motel's exact location, it would be difficult to direct anyone to help. They taunted from outside. "We've got orders to kill you today. No one's coming for you." "Don't underestimate Connie's family," another voice jeered, revealing their affiliation to one of the largest organized crime groups on the West Coast, a group that my brother Liam was a part of. Seizing the moment, I decided to call Liam, hoping he could pull some strings quickly. "Please pick up," I murmured, clutching my phone tightly, trying to keep my voice low enough not to be heard outside. "Hello? Frank? What's up?" Liam answered. In a hushed tone, I explained, "I'm locked in a motel room right now, managed by Connie's family. They forced me here and beat me with bats and golf clubs." "Do you know which motel?" he asked urgently. "That's the problem," I admitted, the gravity of my situation sinking in deeper. I didn't know where I was. "Got it, don't panic," Liam said calmly over the phone. "If it's a motel, is there anything in the room that could help identify it?" Frantically searching, I spotted a flyer with a hotel name. "It looks like it's called Vista Sol Hotel. Do you know it?" "Yeah, that's close to here." I'll head over right away. Sit tight, Liam replied, and then the call ended. Just as I hung up, Elizabeth and the men burst into the room. There's nowhere to run now. Let's have some fun, shall we? Their leader sneered. Until that moment, I had been paralyzed by shock and confusion. However, knowing that Liam was on his way sparked a new energy in me. Shut up. I'm not just going to lie down and take this, I snapped back defiantly. Are you seeing how many of us there are and still talking tough? I can take you punks on my own, I challenged, my voice brimming with a mix of fear and adrenaline. One of them swung a bat towards my head, but I dodged just in time and retaliated with a fierce kick. Come at me then, you little punk, I taunted, trying to fend them off. As I squared up to continue my defense, another blow came from my blind spot. I staggered, dazed by the hit. The group laughed menacingly, closing in. Giving us trouble, kicking like that? We'll end you. Time to meet your maker, one of them threatened, lifting the bat for another strike. I braced myself, expecting the worst, but suddenly one of them intervened. Wait, he's made fools of us this much. Let's torture him a bit more, he proposed. Another chimed in with a cruel idea. First, let's strip his clothes and take an embarrassing video of him. Post that online and he might just want to die himself. Oh, that sounds super fun. Do it, do it, they jeered as they lifted me and threw me onto the bed. We'll undress you gently then, okay? This is going to be fun, they mocked. Stop! Don't touch me! I yelled, filled with despair and unable to resist their overpowering strength. But then, the sound of the motel's front door being forcefully broken down echoed through the room. What was that sound? I wondered aloud, hoping against hope that it was Liam. Why the hell are you laughing? One of them growled, puzzled and angry at my sudden change in demeanor. You're in for it now, he threatened. But I knew. What you guys are finished, I said through gritted teeth, smiling defiantly at them. Then, from the hallway, the sound of the elevator arriving could be heard. Hey, Jacob, go check it out, the leader ordered nervously. One man, bat in hand, cautiously stepped into the hallway. A tense few minutes passed, then a scream shattered the ominous silence. Then, the voice outside was abruptly cut off and the hallway fell silent. What happened? Hey, go check it out, one of the men urged his companion. Don't order me around, the other snapped back. You guys call yourselves men but have no guts. Just go. Shut up. Who do you think you're talking to? The argument escalated as tensions rose. They paused when they heard footsteps approaching the door. Quickly, they whispered among themselves, Right, as soon as they come in, we'll attack all at once. Got it? They all nodded and positioned themselves behind the door, listening as the footsteps neared. Suddenly, with a loud shout, one of the men lunged at the door, swinging his bat. Oh yeah, clean hit, he exclaimed as he grabbed the hair of the person he had struck and dragged him into the room. Take that, don't get cocky. Come on, show us your face. Still gripping his hair, the men forced his head up, only to freeze in shock the moment they saw his face. No way. It can't be, ow, damn, that hurt. Why are you here? Do I need to check in with you every time about where I am and what I'm doing? The newcomer snapped, his authority unmistakable. No, of course not, they stammered, recognizing their mistake. We thought Jacob got taken out. Shut up, no excuses, the figure, clearly Liam, retorted as he dealt a punishing blow to one of the men, then turned to the other. You're next, huh? I was just following orders, but you still hit me good, didn't you? I'm sorry, the man pleaded, but Liam was relentless, beating him until he was almost unconscious. After ensuring they were no longer a threat, Liam hurried over to me. Looks like they did a number on you. You tried to fight back but couldn't win. You're not used to fighting after all, he observed, helping me up and sitting me on the bed. What happened? These guys are from our family, aren't they? I managed to say, still reeling from the ordeal. Yeah, but it seems like they were told to kill you and jump you all of a sudden. Who beat you up? Liam asked. All three of them did whatever they wanted, including the guy you dragged in, I said, pointing at each of them and making eye contact. Liam stood calmly, then turned to address Elizabeth, who had remained silent until now. "So who the hell are you? You've got quite the attitude." "What's it to you if you're here? That means you laid hands on them and Frank, right?" Elizabeth retorted, trying to deflect. "I was just watching. I didn't do anything directly," she claimed, but it was clear she was the instigator. "So, who are you?" Liam pressed, demanding an answer. Laughing, Elizabeth finally spoke. "I'm Frank's superior. Oh, this guy doesn't do things properly at all. So I figured I'd teach him a lesson," Elizabeth declared, suggesting that bringing Mafia influence into workplace disputes was somehow a teaching tool. Liam couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. "So, can I go home now?" I asked, half in jest. "You think I'm going to say that's fine?" "I didn't lay a hand on him," Elizabeth retorted, her tone defensive yet aggressive. "That attitude of yours irked me. You couldn't handle your business on your own, so you dragged the Mafia into this? Is it my fault for not obeying my boss just because she's a woman?" "Don't play that card. Do you mean about not going to the hotel? Since when are a boss's orders absolute, especially under these circumstances?" "You're messed up in the head," I countered. Elizabeth shrugged, unabashed. "I can say that I'm a boss, and no one at the company goes against what I say. How does someone just from the sales team wield that much power?" "Well, since you've seen all this, I'll tell you." "What is it then?" I demanded. "Those guys only ever wanted one thing from me, so I used the Mafia to threaten them. In other words, I gained leverage over them. That's why no one can defy me." "So, you've been firing people you don't like just like that?" I clarified, shocked by her candidness. "That's right. What's wrong with that? I'm practically carrying the company, so it's fine," Elizabeth claimed, her justification as flimsy as it was audacious. Liam, however, was visibly unsettled by this revelation. "That means you've been freely using our guys regularly, huh?" "That's right," Elizabeth admitted, then paused, looking around. "And you're not going to do anything about it, are you? After all, I'm the woman of your underboss. You wouldn't dare lay a hand on the underboss's woman, would you?" Her arrogance was palpable, but Liam called out to a nearby underling, "Hey, Eric's downstairs, right? Go get him." As the underling hurried out, Elizabeth's bravado waned slightly. After a tense wait, the underling returned with a stern-faced man named Thomas. "What can I do for you?" he inquired. "I want to ask you something. Are you keeping some woman with questionable taste around?" Liam asked directly. Thomas, looking genuinely puzzled, responded, "I don't know any woman like that. What do you mean?" Liam glared at Elizabeth, then back at Thomas. "No, I mean exactly what I said." Elizabeth, now nervous, tried to salvage her position. "I've drunk with Eric and had meals with him. I've even been close to him during those times." After a moment of contemplation, Thomas finally spoke up. "Oh, I remember now." "Remember what?" Liam pressed. "This chick was at a pub near the office," Thomas recalled, shedding light on the lesser significance Elizabeth held, contrary to her grand claims. "It seems she heard I was an underboss in the Mafia, and she came on strong," Thomas recounted with a touch of sarcasm. "So you made her your woman?" someone asked incredulously. "No way," Thomas scoffed. "A woman with such mediocre looks and a nasty personality? That's a hard pass for me. But she's been going around claiming she's my woman. Seriously? When I first met her, she was so irritating that I had to put her in her place," Thomas continued mockingly. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, who had been parading around as Eric's woman, was called out. "You're messed up in the head to think you could pull this off." "What do you mean messed up?" Elizabeth retorted defiantly. "It's not messed up. Are all the employees at Frank's company like this?" someone in the crowd asked, half joking. "She's particularly delusional. I only realized how crazy recently," Thomas answered. The room erupted in laughter, contrasting sharply with Elizabeth's growing anger. Her face turned bright red as the reality of her deception became apparent. "So she was using my men without my knowledge, tricking them," Thomas realized aloud. These idiots fell for it. The surrounding Mafia members, who had been quietly observing, now spoke up. This woman isn't the underboss's lady after all. Guess not. You dummies got fooled by someone like her, another chimed in. She even used the underboss's name and dirtied our gang's reputation. You had plenty of opportunities to verify her claims. Didn't you think to check with him directly? Thomas criticized. This woman told us to keep it a secret from the underboss because she wanted to surprise him later with her cooperation. Good thing you punks have learned your lesson to verify facts from now on, one of the men added, mocking the gullibility of his peers. Then, one of the men who had been deceived by Elizabeth grabbed a bat and turned toward her angrily. Hey, you tricked us good. What? You guys were totally into it too? I was doing it for the bosses. If you ain't special, I ain't holding back, he said before swinging the bat and hitting Elizabeth in the stomach as hard as he could. Seeing this, Eric called out to Liam and Thomas. I got one request. What is it? Thomas asked. Mind if I get a hit in too? Go for it, Thomas replied. Eric approached Elizabeth slowly. You're gonna hit me too, even though you're a man? What the hell are you saying now? If you lay hands on me again, you're not gonna get off easy, Elizabeth threatened, tears mixing with the blood from her nose. We are the Mafia, you know. Who do you think you're threatening? Eric said before punching Elizabeth in the face with all his might. Elizabeth's response was furious and tearful. I'll never forgive you. Don't mess with me. I know people in the police too. I'll crush you even if I have to use the whole company. You think you can crush us with one measly company? All the employees at my company do whatever I say, so I can make them do anything, Elizabeth spat back defiantly. That going to happen? None of our guys are going to have anything to do with you anymore, Thomas retorted. Shut up! I can trick any number of those good-for-nothing thugs, Elizabeth declared. As she ranted, Liam took something out of his pocket, grinning. What's that? Someone asked curiously. This? Liam held up the object. It's a voice recorder. I have recorded everything up to now. What if I send this to your company? You're totally screwed, I told Elizabeth, watching her face drain of color. Adding to her dismay, I revealed, by the way, I had them film everything since these guys walked in. Just audio wouldn't be enough evidence. With video, it's undeniable. Elizabeth's desperation grew palpable. She approached Liam, clinging to him. Please, anything but that. I'll do anything. The hell are you saying? Liam scoffed. You provoked me like crazy and even lied. But frankly, I don't give a damn. It's your damn fault. Rejected by Liam, Elizabeth slumped to the floor, defeated. Frank, mind if I deal with these guys? Liam asked, pointing to the gang members who looked ashamed. It's got nothing to do with me anymore, so do what you want, I responded. My bad, I let you get hurt too. Nah, I'm grateful. This will probably make work more comfortable, I mused. Oh, about this audio and video data. Mind if I keep it for a bit? She might have done the same thing to others, so I want to look into it. Sure, I get it. I'll send the data to your company later. Do whatever makes you happy, bro, Liam agreed. Then the gang members took Elizabeth and the guys who had used violence and left. I wanted to talk with you a bit too, but go home for today. I'm okay, it's just this much, I reassured Liam. No way, go to the hospital and get checked out properly, he insisted as he left the room. Eric then stood in front of me, nodded, and started speaking. Thomas is worried about you, Frank, but that's an overreaction, right? After he got the call from you, he was more flustered than I've ever seen him. He always acts tough, but deep down, he cares about family, Eric explained. I see. So please go to the hospital for him. But he won't know if I went to the hospital or not, right? In that case, send us the medical bill from the hospital. I see. If you could consider Dawn's feelings, I'd appreciate it. That day, I told them I was going straight home instead of to the office and headed to the hospital. Fortunately, there were no abnormalities with my bones, but since I had bruises, the hospital asked about the circumstances. However, I couldn't exactly say I got beat up by the Mafia, so I insisted I fell and went home. "Good morning," I greeted the next day at the office as if nothing had happened. Then, my coworkers and seniors crowded around me, curious. "What's going on?" I asked. One of my coworkers showed me an email on the company computer. It had audio and video of the incident attached, and the content was clear and presented in an easy-to-understand way. Although my name wasn't mentioned anywhere in the video and the audio was conveniently muted, the content sparked curiosity. What in the world is this about? People at the company wondered. Additionally, the email clarified that I had exposed Elizabeth's true nature, which made many at the company grateful to me. Given that the scandal involving Elizabeth had blown up, the higher-ups involved were facing ostracism, and Elizabeth herself was on the verge of being sued for causing significant damage to the company. Feeling a deep sense of gratitude towards Liam for his help, I called him after work. "Hello, Liam. Did you see the email? And did you go to the hospital?" "I went to the hospital, so I'll send a bill your way. The email was amazing, right? I edited it so people wouldn't find out you're my little brother," Liam revealed. "So that's what it was. Well, thanks. You helped me out. I don't want to cause you any trouble either." Come on, trouble is a feeling I get now that being a white-collar worker is tougher than being in the Mafia, depending on the time and place, Liam said, somewhat humorously. Somehow it felt like I was talking to my brother for the first time in a long while. "But I respect you, you know. There was a time when I didn't want to become involved in Mafia life." "Is that so?" Liam seemed surprised. "Yeah, but I couldn't say that. I just silently listened to what Dad said." "Yeah, but you properly stated your opinion and stuck with it, even if it meant getting disowned." "That's true. I always thought that was so cool of you." "I'm glad you thought of me that way," I responded, feeling a warm sense of pride. "Yeah, I'm genuinely proud to have you as my little brother. Thank you. This must be some kind of fate. Let's go out for a meal sometime," Liam suggested. "That's going to be your treat then, right?" I teased. "Well, I'm the older one, so I'll pay for that." I ended the conversation feeling a mix of frustration and gratitude about the entire incident, but also a renewed connection with my brother, something that had been missing for a while.